out the gate, they pretty much started with a pissing match between Alicent and Rhaenyra. I mean, Rhaenyra just gave birth to another boy. All them damn boys. You see all them boys she got? Well,
All the
girl,
boys.
she gave birth to another boy, and the queen immediately asked that the child is brought to her. But
Girl.
Rhaenyra, always the one to accept the challenge. Wherever she went, she left a trail of blood. But she was gonna show up and let Alicent know, oh baby, if my child coming, I'm coming too. So it was just pretty much like this struggle for power. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Was I shocked that there was that much tension? I guess I was just shocked that bam, 10 years later, right into the action of just their thick tension between the two. It was so disrespectful, isn't even the right word, to request to see the baby as soon as it's left, its mama's womb. And I'm just like, Alicent, as a person who has had children, this is so rude. But for me, I was actually happy to see the maternal aspect of Rhaenyra. Like, I'm glad that she's a mom, like not in any kind of way, like, I'm valuing motherhood over choosing not to have a motherhood, but just seeing that this warrior princess is still a warrior princess, but she's also like a mother. It was just good to see her in that light.
Did you peep though how they done hacked off Viserys's arm? Man had a whole sleeve dangling in that scene.
You
They
know
were
what's
wrong for
funny
that.
is I had to go back and watch it because the whole time I didn't notice that he didn't have an arm. And then I was reading up on something because there was like a scene that I didn't quite understand. And then in that article, it talked about him not having an arm. And I was like, wait, he didn't have an arm.
The man is, again, one foot in the grave and the other one on a banana peel. And Danny, I just knew this episode. Now I ain't trying to kill the man, but I just knew this episode he wasn't gonna make it. But my goodness, yo! But just before we get out of that scene, did you catch the shade by Alicent when she walked over to Laenor and she said something like, I know I'm gonna get it wrong. He was holding one of, I was gonna say his son, not his son, but he was holding Rhaenyra's baby, and Alicent went, good luck, and the next one's gonna look like you, or they're starting to look
Yeah,
more and more like you. Girl, the shade.
absolute shade. Yeah. And I guess for that scene, I was also like super annoyed that Lenore jumped to naming the baby without even like consulting Rhaenyra. I mean, clearly they didn't talk about it anyway, but I get that you want to name your baby after your lover who's been murdered. Because what was the baby's name? I think is Joffrey now, Joffrey. But I just felt like it was rude. Like, she literally just birthed this child. She walked up several flights of stairs to keep the baby safe, and appealing to Alicent's command to see the child, and no consideration given to the mother. Just, we're going to name him Joffrey.
And after the lover,
Mm-hmm.
wow. That's some, I don't know the other party's names involved, but that's some Adam Levine type scandal situation. Dead ass, that's like same thing, but in reverse, right? He with somebody, he think he's married, he has a mistress, and he and his wife are having a child, and he was trying to name the damn child after the mistress. Boy, have
I
you lost your,
just.
you know what? Okay. So yeah, they jump what, 10 some odd years into the future. And then we also get to see a grown-up Laena now. She and Daemon they've married and they've got children. So yeah, the scene starts. They're at family dinner with their daughters, and there's a man there. He seems to be proposing some type of alliance with Daemon, asking for help. Did you catch what they were?
Yeah.
He and his people, they were like having some type of strife.
Yeah. So I know it's someone who's ruling another free city.
Hmm.
And he was entertaining Daemon and Laena, trying to propose some kind of like national security allegiance because they got dragons, right? And so he's like, hey, you guys can move here and enjoy, free reign in our little free city if you can provide fire protection, if you will, or an air force, but basically something's going down in a triarchy, and that guy who's ruling over Pentos is concerned that, it will
Yeah.
find its way to Pentos. So that's what I gathered.
He was throwing everything at Damon. Obviously, the location, money, like a whole lot of things. But what stood out to me most about this scene is Damon actually, and you heard it in the dialogue between he and Laena, he actually was like, look, he pointed out in numerous ways, that he was not interested in leaving or going back home. The shift that I'm talking about is Damon literally says, I'm not interested in petty politics anymore. He wasn't interested in having to fight over, a hierarchy to be able to rule. And that's a stark contrast, from the Damon we know. So, but Lena, she won't have it. Old girl was ready to get back to the city where everything was popping, apparently.
Yeah, so I know our last episode, I was like, Damon's crazy and I can't be team Damon until I see a softer side. And I feel like this episode, we got a softer side. He's not by any means like a doting father and husband, but it's certainly a softer side to your point, in that it's like he's given up on the politicking and playing games. And part of me is like, oh, it's because, he's actually in a marriage where he at least somewhat kind of likes his wife. He's got these kids, one of which he favors, the other one he seems to be ignoring. But then a part of me is like, at the same time, Laena is the Valerian heir. Since her brother was married off to Rhaenyra, she's actually the heir. And so I don't know if he feels some kind of satisfaction and that, like he's not king, but he's married to someone who's an heir to a location. I don't know what's going on. It has been 10 years though. So 10 years is a lot of time, a lot of thinking for Daemon. They probably had a lot of sex, a lot of talk. And even though he doesn't necessarily seem like happy with her, he seems satisfied. Like, you can tell he does love her. And their twins are so cute.
Either way, the egg is in my face, girl. I created the whole thumbnail for our last episode asking, is this man impotent? And he got 2 whole kids. Maybe it was the damn stress. How about we just talk about stress?
Yeah. I
Because
think,
maybe stress did it.
I think it was stress. And the people that he was with, it wasn't like he was like super attracted. Like his wife, he didn't like, he hated. And the woman, the sex worker, I don't know what her name was, Missaria, maybe, she was just kind of like there. It wasn't like he was in love with her. And then the other one, that's his niece. So maybe he was stressed and he wasn't really into it. Did you put 2 and 2 together about who Rhaenyra is actually sleeping with? Like that it's the guy. Because remember last time we were together, you were like, who's the guy that snatched up Rhaenyra when the fight broke out? That was him. And he became her baby daddy.
I feel like if that's the case, then you and Christian could have made that. Oh, I know they couldn't have, because he didn't want to be anybody's whore or side
Right.
piece. And I get
Right.
that. I do get that. I'm just saying, bro, if you no, because see, now the ministry gonna be like, see, come on to this side. So let me shut up.
Well,
me be quiet.
at the same time, it's like he didn't have a whole bunch of options. Like if she
That's
had
all I'm
decided,
saying.
yeah,
That's
it's like if
all I'm
she's
saying. We
gonna
didn't have
stay
many choices.
there, you became a knight. It's not like you could go marry someone else anyway, because you're not even supposed to be married. So your thoughts about marriage is, you gave that away when you became, a knight. And she's offering you an opportunity to still get yours with someone that you are even, relatively attracted to. That could have been you. It could have been you, but it ain't. Now it's Sir Heron or whatever his name is.
Right.
I like him.
Period. Christian again is found making dumb and petty decisions in the courtyard when he was showing blatant favoritism to Alicent's children, right? When it came to training the boys or whatever. And then the hand son, again, I don't Rhaenyra's baby daddy, because I don't know his name, but they get into a fight. Well, her baby daddy gets into a fight and Christian just lays there because he got his ass beat. But after I thought about it, he just pretty much just baited that guy into that, because we know
He
old boy
did.
can fight. We know he could fight. Yeah, I definitely agree with you now. From what you said before about him, he is just not in a good headspace at all.
He's just an emotional wreck. Like, he's careless. You can see the way that he talked about her to Alicent. Even she had to turn and look at him like, I'm gonna need you to tone that down. I don't know what he called Rhaenyra. I don't want to repeat it, but he is just filled with, I don't even know what it is at this point, because it's beyond jealousy. Now it's like a hatred that he has for her.
And at some point, the scene cuts to everybody at the in the council meeting room. They're having a small council meeting. Rhaenyra offers a truce, which surprised the hell out of me. She really did throw an olive branch to Alicent through an offer of having one of her children marry Alicent's one of Alicent's children, right? I did not see that coming at all. And when I thought about the deal, how does Alicent really lose? And I'm sitting here thinking the way Alicent reacted, yeah, now she's out for blood. She's out for win at all costs, zero sum game type situation. But I'm like,
Mhm.
sis, I personally don't think that was a bad deal. But what am I missing, Danny?
To your point, I was also surprised when she said I had something to say. I thought she was just going to address the elephant in the room and like call out Alicent on the hostility. She didn't. She did address it a little bit, but her, recommendation is like, hey, let's call it a truce and have our babies marry. And I can kind of see Allison's hesitation because in her mind, her children are birthed with I don't know what the best word to describe it is, but her and her king have babies and there's no question about their parentage. Rhaenyra's children are, I don't want to say that they are bastards, but in that time frame, it's considered bastards because they were born outside of the marriage. And Alicent, from the very beginning, she seems to be very much conditioned into like the chastity of a woman and the dignity of marriage. And even when she was questioning Rhaenyra about what was going on with the rumors with her and her uncle, she was overly concerned about the perception of Rhaenyra's purity, if you will. And so I think knowing that about her, that Alicent actually cares about that, I could see why the offer is subpar. Like, you're offering me your children that you and I both know aren't even like children between you and Lenore, and you want my daughter.
Bitch, you fuck my daddy. That's the least you could fucking do.
No, I'm with you, but I guess I'm not saying I agree with Alicent, but I could see why she hesitated because she feels like her children are nobly and born, and Rhaenyra's children are bastard children, and that privilege. So, and to your point though, like even with all of that being the case and her feeling that way about the children, remember the conversation she had with her, oh god, her eldest, who was just like masturbating out into the common people, out the
You
window.
know the what? And I'm sorry. Please hold on to your thought. But you just sat here and said her raggedy ass would want to appeal to nobility, and so graciously pointed out that her son acting like you know what? Okay.
I didn't say the kids were noble. I said that this is what they mother, how she sees them. He,
That's accurate.
yes. So basically, I guess where I was going with that is even if she felt that way about her little raggedy kids, remember the plea that she made to her eldest to take the succession situation seriously. Like, if your
Here we go.
basically half sister
Mhm.
becomes queen and she's basically given birth to all these boys, what do you think that means for you, Aegon? And so I'm like, how can you be so invested in the succession, but then also like not create or not side with a peace offer, to at least secure the safety of your children?
And then Allison kind of felt a ways when Viserys was talking to Lionel, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Was talking to him, and Alicent was there, and she was just so upset that he just did not tell on himself. She was doing a lot again.
She is. She's it's like when gossip like just gets a hold of you and it's all you can think about. And did you also notice, I could also see why she feels some kind of way about this. There are a couple of scenes where she's like walking down the hallway and the handmaidens are like laughing, smirking as she walks by. Did you notice that? So I feel like even though Rhaenyra is the one like having sex and having all these illegitimate children, Rhaenyra is actually not the laughing stock, and neither is Sir Harwin. Like they're talking about it, the gossip amongst the, the people, but Alicent is the one that's getting the smirks every time she walked by or walked down the hallway. Yeah, and if you didn't notice that, next time you look, I noticed that the handmaidens were all smirking every time she walks by. So it's like, I feel like she thinks it's a ding on her reputation somehow. So I think one of the next scenes after that is when basically Alicent, she storms out of the room because Lionel doesn't end up outing his son. Not that I think that Viserys doesn't know, but he's sticking to his guns that, he just wants peace in his family. She storms out and she gets to her quarters, and lo and behold, is it Laris? What's his name? Lionel's
That's
other son. That's exactly what it is, actually. There's no other way to put it. Like there's gossiping and kikiing, but then there's him. And we find out that he's even more than just a rumor monger. So anyway, he's stroking Alicent's frustration. She does hint to him that she wants something done about this, but she never really says. And then he takes it upon himself to decide what the best course of action is. And it's just not even what my brain expected. And again, I haven't read the books to know what this little secret society of assassins he created among the people who were on death row that he basically hired to assassinate his dad and his brother and the people, because they set the palace on fire. So I'm sure other people died too, but these are like his folks. And he commissions to have them assassin. And Alicent finds out about it. And she's like, I didn't tell you to do that. And that's not even what I meant. And I think that he knew that, right? He just wanted to basically set a scene where he can guarantee his spot. I don't know if he's thinks that he could be the next hand since now he offed his dad. I don't know. I don't know what you thought about why he assassinated them. If it was just pure craziness, or do you think he was scheming?
They always scheming, but no, I didn't see that coming either. But I'm gonna tell you why it broke my heart. One, the man was fine. Okay, look, and that's
He
irrelevant, I know, but
was.
he was
No,
handsome.
it's very
It's
relevant.
irrelevant.
It's relevant.
Yo, he was easy on the eyes. So, but no, it broke my heart because Rhaenyra was really, she had packed her damn family up, went to Dragonstone, and sis was getting ready to finally live her life. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
And she's already struggling to take care of the boys mentally. Anyway, you can tell it's weighing on her, trying to balance that faux marriage, trying to keep at so many secrets from getting out. She sis was just like, I'm leaving it all. Now her damn baby daddy gone. And one of her sons was like, that's my dad or something like that.
Well, what's
But
funny? I think the oldest I don't ever know how to, she called him Jace. So I'm going to call him Jace. I don't know if it's just Jacaerys or Jacaerys, whatever his name is. But the oldest son, when he asked that, even though I feel like he looks just like the man, at the same time, I was like, we don't actually know if Rhaenyra, well, me, I don't know. You be knowing the extras and the timelines and the, the family tree. But innocent little me, I'm like, we don't actually know if Rhaenyra drank the moon tea. And if she didn't drink the moon tea, the plan B,
you know
and
what?
I was like, that could totally be Kristen's son while he's sitting here hating. That could be your whole son. And you don't even know it. And nobody knows it. But yeah, so I think the boy is smart. There's a bond. And what's his name? Lenore, they call him father, but he ain't nobody's daddy. And he don't be showing all the affection that they get from or got from, was it
Right.
Heron? I'd be messing up their names. Harwin. I think the bond, he was definitely, I'll miss him too. Cause not only was he fine, I felt like, not only played the role, but I feel like him and Rhaenyra had a bond. I don't know if it's love, but they had something and they were raising the kids, and the kids, whether they knew he was their blood father or not, the bond was there. So I was sad, just like you. And he went out in a horrible death like that.
And did. But let me ask you this before we get over to Child Lena self-fulfilling prophecy. Anyway, familiar with Dance of the Dragons was supposed to happen. Everybody packing up and leaving. Who's supposed to be attending this fight if everybody invited is leaving? Daemon didn't want it. I mean, he's already expressed he didn't want to go back. He didn't want to engage in the politics. Ray done packed up and left. It's basically like Alicent, sis, you got it. So I'm sitting
Mhm.
here like, what the hell is gonna draw everybody back that's gonna have this fight? And it is a bit of a spoiler. I get it, so I'm gonna go on. But girl, yeah, Laena, self-fulfilling prophecy. Sis was like, listen, I'm gonna die anyway in childbirth or whatever. I'm gonna die. Dracarys.
Yeah, I think that's what she say, but I feel like she said somewhere that she was gonna die by dragon. That's how committed she was to her dragon and the dragon riding life. I also think so that scene where she was struggling with childbirth, at first I thought she's taking matters into her own hands and she's going to walk out into the water and give birth in the water like the women in Africa do, because they understand that water is helpful with giving birth. I don't know why they had her leaning across a bed the way she was, but I thought she was going to do something like deeply maternal and give birth in the water. No, she walked over to her beloved dragon and, requests to be, what is it, immolated when you're burned that way. And her dragon, he or she was so like, why are you having me doing this? That bond that they create with their dragon, he didn't want to do that, but he complied. But I applaud that moment because it's a stark contrast from Emma, who did not have a choice, and Laena was like, no, I'm not leaving this in the hands of a man. I'm going to make a decision for myself and my child. It was
And
it
I
was, it was like the medieval version of an abortion, but she died
Yeah.
also.
And I don't know if you caught it, but it just dawned on me. So first of all, that dragon is not only is it the biggest of all the dragons, it's Vagar. I want to say it's something else significant about that dragon too. But really quick before we end, if you remember back when she first met Viserys, that was the dragon she was inquiring about. She said she always wanted to ride it. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was a nod back to the one dragon she wanted to ride, and she actually got to ride it, and she did
Mhm.
indeed die a dragon's death. Thank you all again for tuning in with us this week. We enjoyed this episode. We're definitely looking forward to the next one.